Good evening. Felt like doing a late night stream tonight. I was just listening to Flashcast, and they've gotten into some interesting conversations with Director X over this Robin Hood series that he put out. That's been pretty critically panned. It's from all accounts, it's not a very good show. Like not very well written at all. And it's a modern day. It's another modern day take on Robin Hood. Like we haven't seen enough versions of that, right? This one's set in the hood, and the main character is a black woman who's Robin with a Y, Robin with a Y, stealing from rich people, giving to the poor. Kind of like Robin Hood. But it's also there. There's some BLM elements to it, like they're protesting against the cops and whatnot. Like the cops are shooting the black people, and they're throwing stuff at the cops. So Flashcast has gotten into it, like the minutia of this show, the stereotypes. The absentee father, there's the mother of this character has a jar full of condoms that she has to refill every so often. It's there's some laughable moments in the show, but let's get into it. I'm gonna pull up the window here and share this. Flashcast is still going right now. I don't know how long they're going to be going with this guy. They have gotten into some arguments. It's gotten kind of heated, but there's a couple of guys on the panel that I think will try to cool it down, like try to diffuse the situation if it gets out of hand. Well, let me see. I'm gonna present, but hopefully it doesn't get too out of control. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's this one. Present share screen. YouTubing.
Dramatized or whatever you want to call it. It like the cop looked so dumb. Nobody would do that, Director X. Nobody, like no cop, unless you're retarded, would do something like that. So it comes across as funny. Like it comes across as funny.
Yeah, but again, no, it's not. I'm gonna bring you back to Tamir Rice, a 12-year-old in the park.
Yeah, all the language is going to fly in this, by the way.
Maybe less than 30 seconds, shot him. The idea that what's going on with the cops and the reactiveness of police officers. We can have a whole other conversation about why they're so active. But to say that's so dumb.
Your situation was like there were a bunch of people surrounding the cop, and it was like there was several officers, and there was a bunch of the other people, and they were all standing around them, and then he turns around and he shoots.
I like to watch the chat too while this is going on.
Right behind him. It was just it was so weird. And it looks like you're trying to make the cops look extremely bad.
Actually, I have a follow-up to that real quick, and you can confirm if I'm incorrect about this. I'm pretty sure there's like a clip I saw from your show where they're like eating pizza and the cop just starts fucking with them while they're eating pizza.
No, they're eating empanadas, and the police are doing a full dragnet of the neighborhood. So they're not arresting them because they're eating the thing. They're looking for the main Tressie, the main character's kids, or the people that know her. So they're hunting her. That's why she gets arrested, not just because she's eating empanadas. And then two, again, I mean, so what we're trying to say in today's current world, that overreactive police is not a thing. I'm being unrealistic. I mean,
it's a thing.
No, I think you're correct. There are examples of that, but like typically in media, we highlight the worst possible examples of any group.
Yes.
Right? There are good officers. You said you even have a friend who is a good officer and has issues with the system. So I would say, like, if you want your show to have a message for kids, it's not.
They also seem to hyper focus on the
show does perpetuate
the instances
like
where
you admit it yourself. You don't
black
have
kids get
any example of a cop
offed by white cops, which is a very small percentage.
Yeah, and in this case, and in your story, like cops are supposed to be working.
Cops kill more white
right?
people
like
than black.
Some cops are from the hood, so they're not the rich. Like it's not like they're not supposed to be the bad guys technically. Do you know what I'm saying? Like some cops are from the hood.
it's Robin Hood though. In Robin Hood, the sheriff is the bad guy. The deputies are the bad guys. I mean,
Okay, yeah, the
so
sheriff I get.
so
The
we're
ginger sheriff.
So is that the standard now for television that we always need a bad guy that's good?
Well, you claim you watch a lot of our channels,
I'm not
so you
talking
would
about
know you would know the climate of what is going on with other shows, right?
Like I'm not.
Well,
I'm
why
not
people would
talking
be
about,
upset
like,
Yeah,
the
by now
sheriff
he-
being the
yeah.
main villain. I'm just saying
He was
like,
watching
Young
ads and
adult
stuff.
shows. We're not.
What are you talking about? The people that are reviewing your show have reviewed a lot of CW content, particularly Batwoman.
Batwoman was
Yeah,
a
Jay
Batwoman.
Longbone.
Batwoman
that whole show.
As
Batwoman was the
eviscerated
last
the
one, and then if Batwoman and what She-Hulk doesn't quite apply to this. But
Well, I'm just
yeah,
pointing
Batwoman
out
She-Hulk
they
was
review
trash.
other shows. I didn't reviewed your show. I reviewed the trailer and laughed at it. And your review bomb.
We all
thing.
did.
I
We all liked
watch
it.
the show. I don't care about your show, to be honest. You know, it doesn't bother me. I don't have a big attachment to Robin Hood, but I see why people, especially British people,
I love Robin
that
Hood.
seem quite upset about, because that's very, from the few that I've
Well,
heard.
see,
talk
I can
about
accept
it,
that
they really
there's
like
a
that tale.
totally different
So,
take on it.
I feel like you
there's
brushing them
been
off too,
totally
and their
different takes
attachment
on
to
it
it might be
since its
a
inception.
little bit too much too. You know, I don't think you quite get that why people are upset about it. You just brush it off and don't really say. In particular, you'll call people incels and racists if you do too. I saw a clip of you call
Yeah,
a bunch
that's
of
never
the
a good
review
idea.
bombers incels.
all right, so let's get into it. Then, yeah, bro, I have racist shit in my comments. I have racist shit in my. DM.
Can you show me some examples of it?
I mean, I literally showed you in the video.
Show
You can look at any of my videos where I pull up at least 3
Show
of the
me some.
comments that are straight racist. One of the guys with the
What did he
wizard
say?
Huh?
What did you say?
Oh, this is something like this is a great fried chicken story, and I feel like robbing an Apple store, bro. It's not.
So you're saying it's perpetuating stereotypes? Is
Wait,
basically
how
what
does
he
robbing
was
an Apple
saying.
store? How is that
God damn,
racial?
That's what he was saying. How is
I don't know.
you're deflecting?
No,
That's
no,
what he
no.
was
A lot of
saying.
people like
Saying.
fried chicken. I do.
Those things
Bro,
themselves are
I
stereotypes.
know what a racist comment is. Please don't talk to me like that. Like I don't understand when someone's being racist. When someone puts up a thumbnail of a black wizard with gold chain, a basketball, and fried chicken, that's racist.
Oh, the
Right?
Gandalf one.
Yeah.
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 I would put it in.
What I would have liked, and what I would have appreciated from this community, right? Of people I watch.
Is he talking about something that Flash has put in his
To at
thumbnail?
least say that's not cool. Could I at least get a that's not cool when there's actually racist shit going on? So you guys play a game where there's no racism, when there clearly is.
Oh yeah,
Right.
racism
And I'm not
exists, but
saying
like
that
it's not
everyone
around
that
every
has
corner.
commented is full on,
Some people
racist.
seem to think it is.
right? Maybe they go a little parents, a little something, and then there's some people that are full on racist. Can I at least get a that's not cool for when people are being full on racist? Is that too much to ask?
I don't think that comment was being racist. I think it was pointing out that your show is
No,
pushing
no,
negative
brother.
stereotypes.
Yeah, and I
It was
see people
racist,
saying,
brother.
I see people in the
It was
comments
racist.
saying this show is
I think they're
racist.
making fun of you.
It
for
leans into a lot of
stereotypes
stereotypes.
you
No, they're
portray.
being
And that's what they were arguing
Yeah,
about
I'm not
before.
saying it's not racially charged. It's definitely racially charged, but it's making fun of you. for
Wait,
being
wait.
racist.
You described
Somebody
the,
just said in the comments,
the
I'm a
plot line
bigot.
to the movie Leprechaun 5, Lep in the Hood. You have
Jokes.
you
Are
have
racist.
inner city kids going out stealing gold because they want to send a positive message. Now, most people consider that a racist as fuck movie, but I mean, you've got all these.
Oh, that movie Karen,
And I gotta
that
go
was
with
hilarious.
Flash on that other thing,
actually.
dude. How do you know he wasn't black?
This white woman has a black family
I just-
move in next to her, and she's just
It's like talking to a
Just because he's
wall.
saying that, it's not racist.
Threatened by
That's, that
them.
I gotta.
Look,
yeah,
I
no.
would put the the gold chain Gandalf in my thumbnail if that makes you feel better. But I think that guy was trolling you for sure. But he's pointing out that your show has negative black stereotypes in it. That's the point of that comment that got left.
No, it's not the point. Here, chill, dude. Okay, loot some Walmart to relax, and don't forget your KFC bucket while watching Robin in the Hood.
wow.
Hey man, love the show and the deep fried story. I feel like a black person now. Now, if you would excuse me, there's an Apple store I plan to loot. By the way, your show is certified shit X. Hateful racist crap should have turned your lot away during the Underground Railroad times. Is there a deeper point I'm missing there? Is there some great subtext in those comments that I'm just not interpreting that you guys can clarify for me?
Again, I ask, do you know the color of the people who actually made those comments?
That's what you're hinging it on.
They're probably
No, I'm just
they probably have
do
like
you?
anime avatars.
Of course I don't, but great. There
All
you
right,
go.
so it
There
could
you go.
very well be a
Then
black
clearly not
person who made
racist.
those
Then there's no
comments
racism.
who's pointing
Unless
out
I
you're
can
fucking racist
identify the race
too.
of the person, then there's
Dude,
no racism.
seriously, you're deflecting and deflecting. I've been very
That's not
respectful of you.
deflecting. Those are
Tom's-
racist comments.
I've been very
Tom's
fucking
losing his-
respectful of you, and now you just told me that you're positive those are fucking racist. No, they're not, because I'll tell you what, I've heard plenty of black people point that kind of shit out.
Yeah. I've heard black people say they can't swim and
fact
stuff like
that the
that,
other
and they
people
love
on the other end of those
watermelon.
comments are white.
And that's what makes it, bro. One, don't yell at me. I've been talking to you.
No, you didn't. You tried to cut me off, and you fucking made
bro,
me sound like an
if we're
asshole
gonna
for making
start
a
yelling,
point.
Here we go.
We can all start yelling, and it'll be a
Shouting
lot of
match.
fun, and everyone, there'll be lots of clips for everybody. But
Yeah,
one,
this is gonna be a highly clippable
those
show.
are racist comments, bro. I don't know what to fucking tell you. They're racist fucking comments.
I don't see the replays anymore because I'm not
They're racist fucking comments.
like
and you guys can't even bring
a
yourself
member.
to say, yeah, bro, that's not cool. You can't even say, yeah, that's not cool.
Did I say they weren't cool?
No, you didn't.
You didn't give me a fucking chance to. That's why.
Sorry.
Crow.
That was good.
Crow's the-
Really?
You know what? Honestly, bro,
I like Crow's
see-
avatar.
No, dude, I've been very respectful of you, and then you cut me off and basically fucking threw me under the bus like that. Fuck that shit, dude.
I don't consider.
I was
Excuse the
making a
language.
very
This is
valid
Flashcast.
point.
They do this all the time.
Then make your point, brother. We're not having a discussion.
No, I already made it. It's done. It's over with. You're not going to listen anyway. That's been pretty clear since the start.
Oh.
The racist thing, right? It's like I've always said, like in my videos, racism wants you dead. You know, racism would be like, fuck you, Director X. When I see you, I'm gonna get you. You know what I mean? Or maybe, you know, just picturing, I don't know, some violence against you or something. I will not excuse that type of thing. I know that it can be offensive. I get that. But the racist thing, you know, I wouldn't say that that is racist. I've always made that point before. Like saying that like pointing racism out where something like it's a drawing, right? You know what I mean? It's not depicting violence towards anybody. What is he, like wearing a chain or something like that? All right. You know, it could be bigoted.
Yeah, he's talking about
you
the
know,
thumbnail.
Racist is something a little bit more. You know, racism doesn't want you to live. It doesn't want you to be happy. It wants you dead. It wants to deny you happiness.
There were some interesting Rings of Power thumbnails that came out.
Your life. You know
Out
what
of
I mean?
Rings of Power.
Racist burns a cross in front of your house. You know, like I said, it doesn't look, man. I've had plenty of comments.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
full
we
on
all
hate.
have as
Yeah.
content creators. You know, I've been watching the you know, I mean, listen, in our chats and stuff like that, people who don't agree with us will disagree most strongly. We learn how to have a thick skin, right? It actually comes with the territory, and you know this. It's like, you know, I mean, listen,
Yeah,
we've
you
all
should.
been around.
You should be able to disagree and
It's
still
really
be
about
civil.
what we concentrate on. This is something that I tell my son all the time because he's learning how to make his way in this world, as like I said before. So I always tell him, you know, when you're making strides, when you're doing shit, it's like when you're running a race, do you stop to look on the side and say, "Stop it, you're being mean," or do you keep running your race? You know what
I
I
wonder
mean?
where that noise has come
Like
from.
you
Must
can't
be
always address
Director
the haters,
X's
which is why I
background.
had a question with the way that you directed or you handled yourself with this. Like I saw you on the local news and you're scrolling through and you're showing some people. Like, I don't know who did that, what you're talking about. So what Tom is saying is a relevant question, you know, because what you did when you went on to the news, you showed a screenshot of I think it was you had Ryan on there, you know, you had I think Drunk 3PO was on there. It's like, I know for a fact, I know these people personally. You know, it wasn't fair
Oh,
to
that
go
was
on a news
funny. Yeah,
outlet
he was
and show a
complaining about
picture
Ryan, but Drunk
of
3PO was the one in
my
the
friend,
shot.
Drunk 3PO, when you're trying to make a point about racism. That was unfair. It's like, this man is a philanthropist. He helps people. He's been to Haiti. You know what I mean? It's like he does all of this shit. You know what I mean? So to actually put him out there like that, that wasn't fair. You know, so that's what I'm saying. It's like you have to just
Drunk,
like really
Drunk
be
just laughed
careful
about it
that,
when he
because
saw that.
that's the way you introduced yourself to the fandom.
Well, look, I don't control an edit for the local news, right? I didn't go to the local news; they came to me, right? And in that discussion that I had
And
with
if anyone
Ryan,
knows,
I don't know if
I mean,
kept it in the edit.
local news
I had to talk about why it's
sucks.
important to talk to other people, and why it's important to reach out.
Mainstream
and
media
have these
sucks
conversations
in general.
with people you don't agree with. So how they cut that up and how that's interpreted, there's only so much I can I mean, I can't have any control of that. You do news, you shoot it, and they go off. I like Drunk 3PO. Shout out Drunk 3PO.
Yeah, you know, but that's the point.
Respect.
You know what I mean? That's the point. It's like, how much energy do we give to that when we know that we can't change that? It's like you want me to say that it wasn't right. I can say that. You know what I mean? I can say that it was offensive. It was disrespectful. I can say that. But see, what you did in the way that you came and introduced yourself to us is that you led with that. It's like if you say that you're of the fandom, it's like you have the Doomcock mug, you know, shit like that. It's like you know what you're getting into here.
Yeah.
You know what it is.
I watched earlier.
but
they showed
at some point,
a mug that his son bought him
the type
with
of response that you get,
Victor von Doomcock on it.
from this
Victor
show,
von Doomcock.
and one, there's no way to know the race of people because the majority of people make comments, either don't post or they don't post themselves or they're private accounts.
Yeah,
Very
anonymous.
few people that are in comments talking shit actually show themselves.
Oh, yeah, they're not gonna show
right?
themselves.
So
No.
that can't be the standard that I'm going to.
Mostly cowards
comments
that
like
act that way.
because I can't see their face. I'm just not doing that, and I'm not going to pretend like that's not what it is. All right, as much as y'all would like me to do it, it's racist. Those are racist comments. They're doing racist shit. It is what it is.
But
then
like,
on top of that,
like
this type of
anyone
stuff that
in
I
the
see
public
on
eye,
media,
they only
right?
see
And
the
reason why, not
negative
just me, why
comments.
people
They
are
don't
this
focus
is
on the
weird too, so
positive.
what's going on here, right? Because this is the type of stuff I see when I do a video for Ariana Grande or Justin Bieber, right? This is pop star stuff where you just got kids all in your comments going crazy, commenting. Just this is some whole other world. This is when I thought we're making this show and commenting on what was going on, that I think I was going to find myself in teeny bopper super fandom world. I mean, I get it. Look, for you guys, a lot of you guys are like, man, this is just what it is. I saw that comment. Some kid went to the Ripperverse, that brother who does Ripperverse. Some kid went to his family member's grave. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine that type of
Yeah, he gets a lot of shit.
About I know for a fact that there are some people on this panel who have received death threats for giving their opinion on a movie. You know what I'm saying?
All the time.
So it's
Anna, that Star Wars girl, I remember
I've had
people
a few
were
things happen myself.
people were really being hateful when her sister died.
I couldn't. I'm sorry. I'm sick and tired of this pussyfooting around here. We need to be truthful about this.
Anna and I get like rape threats and death threats all the time
I've
just
heard
because we share our opinions about movies. So that's nothing new. And whenever you see comments like
Ryan
that, Director
and
X,
Jeremy,
of
they
course
talk
it's not
about all
cool.
the time
And I
getting
think
death
what Jay
threats.
Longbone was saying is more
Nasty
accurate.
comments.
It's that they're racially charged versus like what Mark was saying, that it's not really quite racism. It's racially charged because they want to get a reaction out of you. But at the same time, look at the show that you've made. You've made a show about all the black people are good. The two villains are white. So you've made a racist show yourself. So how can you sit here and be like, oh, I'm making a racist show, but every comment about it is going to be coming across racist towards me. Like, can't you see it from other people's point of view?
Are we forgetting that the first villain that you see, Red Cap, is mixed race? He's clearly not a white man. And then Guy Gisborne is Latino. So yeah, we have two white villains, but then we have, and the show's not done yet, we have black villains as well.
Diverse villains.
This is not just every villain is white. People keep.
Okay, but for your pilot episode, that's what I saw. I saw predominantly the two
look, Ethan Van Sciver
characters are bad, and everybody else is good.
Just slips in, says nothing.
Why are we forgetting that Red Cap is mixed race?
Yeah, he's half evil.
He's happy, but okay.
Am I half evil? Is that what we're saying?
I don't
Everybody's
know.
getting along now. This is great. When I came in here initially, it was war. Everybody was picking on.
I'm Persian, Director X, so
30 seconds ago,
It's
Tom was
hilarious.
flipping the fuck out.
Listen, you guys got to settle down.
Because of that awesome
comment.
Why though, Mark? I am always flipping out.
Director X, they're not used to hanging out with real artists, okay? Like you and me. They're not used to it. And they don't know how to deal with us. I understand. They feel like they can run
Count
their
on
mouths.
ABS to just
you, sir,
cut through the
are
tension.
Genuine talent. Happy to get to meet you. My name's Ethan Van Sciver, and it's a pleasure to share a live stream with you. I was busy. I was busy running an auction with some friends,
getting his
art auction.
lipstick on.
Listen, I've dealt with I've dealt with creative people my whole life, and you don't always agree with what they're doing, the choices that they make creatively, but got to give them respect. These are guys who are actually out there making things, not complaining about things, making things, and so for that reason, they deserve respect. So it's a pleasure to get to meet you, Director X. I'm not familiar with your work yet. Perhaps if I was, I'd be screaming at you too. But I think it's really great that you came on here to confront your critics, and I think that's
Definitely.
very
Look,
great.
man, at the end of the day, we should all be talking to one another. You should be talking to people you don't agree with.
Respect from one creative to another.
14 TV show. I know it's.
We're not all gonna like the things
we
make like everybody else makes.
TV show. You know what I'm saying?
So we don't all
we can
have
a
the
talk,
same
we
taste.
can get emotional, we can yell and scream. Tom, I would love to yell and scream with you, but I don't want it to turn into a meme.
And I don't mean to be that way either, but it's just like that's the thing it's turned into now, right? It's like nobody's listening to each other, and nobody's listening to what we're trying to say. And we've had a lot of people call us a lot of names, and so we get very sensitive when we get lumped in with people like that. And look,
it's one of the first videos I've seen of you talking. Oh, those racists, like it's just another label, another person from Hollywood saying it, calling all the people that are criticizing them racist incels.
Rex, how bad is the pedophilia problem in Hollywood? Are they all really satanic pedophiles?
Yeah, he's going right to the.
That's the first question I'd like to ask as I interview you tonight. That's what we're led to understand.
I don't know if he's that deep into Hollywood.
I mean, I'm not in those circles of
yeah.
game.
I was about to say.
You want to name names for us tonight?
I've never gotten an invite.
What about that list?
Child sacrifice. But
okay.
Look, on the flip side, on the flip side of it, you look at it from the creator side, right? So I'm making this show. The whole point of this community having any attention on the show was that it was a gender swap, race swap, right? And immediately everyone was like, "This is all going to be woke. It's all going to."
I mean, that's the first thing people notice. That doesn't look like Robyn Hood,
right? There's no one actually saying something that you can. There's the woke line. Because again, I'm an angry nerd too. So we're not going to mention race. I got a black woman being shot, a black woman activist being shot, and at no point do they say, because a black woman, we don't say none of that. We keep this to rich and poor, right? None of the characters talk about race.
Yeah, being privileged and not privileged has nothing to do with race.
The characters are going to be white. Robyn could have been black, could have been Latino, depending on who, if the right person stepped up. So there's no talk.
But not white.
No, I mean, again, we're talking about a project. We're talking about the projects. There's a bit of a.
I mean, you're making Robyn Hood, but white is out of the question. Like,
well, he's saying he's making a story about people in the projects who are serving poor people, right? I'm putting this together, Director. Actually,
yeah, there's a bit. Like I said, we have to get a little bit of realism here. Like it's the projects. The projects. I mean, there's not a whole lot of. There's the white people in the projects for sure, but for this show, we said, all right.
There are going to be a lot more of them when Joe Biden finishes his term. I'll tell you that. It's ridiculous. We can't afford groceries anymore. This guy.
Buckle up, everybody.
He's from Canada. He's got his is worse.
Yeah.
And that's actually my question. My other question is because you made this series in Canada, how much have you had to deal with basically like kind of like the uphill battle of making this in Canada? Because I know some of the Canadian TV shows they have a lot more checklists. They have a lot more things that you need to do as a creator. So how is that?
The uphill battle of doing a show in a place like Canada, maybe even England, any place where there's a tax credit incentive, is that certain tax credits kick in. So say you had a show from America, and the tax credit you're going to get is the main actors will be from wherever we want. Maybe they're American, maybe they're English, but we don't care. We're casting who we want. Mm-hmm. Right, but then
I see some Trump 2024s in the chat.
Canadian directors, the writers will be American, but then maybe we'll edit it. So there's all these different tiers.
Director X, your show was a travesty. So
into a tax credit bracket. So Robyn Hood, in order to make the show, which is already it's low budget in a low budget Canadian television is low budget in general, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, we've seen that. Yeah. We know that.
So in order to make this, and credit to Chorus and credit to Boat Rocker, they believed in the show and they wanted to make it. So they were literally like digging into the couch cushions to get the change to get us money. So in order to do that now the tax credit, not only does it have to be 100% Canadian, top to bottom, every actor, every director, everybody has to be Canadian, but we couldn't shoot the exteriors in Toronto. We went to Hamilton, right?
Okay.
Right. So I believe personally that in production, the difficulties actually lead you to a better. They're leading you to where you need to be. So when we originally thought of New Nottingham, we said, okay, it's gonna be Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
New Nottingham will be Toronto. It's a big city. Then we said it's gonna be Hamilton. There's no way you're gonna shoot Hamilton and Hamilton for the rest of the world is an hour away from Toronto. So an hour away from New York, an hour away from you all know what this looks like, right?
Yeah.
So now we're in this smaller town.
I was just watching 11/22/63.
Well, if New Nottingham is in the
they
shadow
show
of some big city,
show a shot of the
it gave us
bridge
a
in
reason why the cops don't have
Dallas.
money, because
I'm like, where's all the homeless people?
Crime. I don't know how anyone can be a criminal now. With facial recognition, cell phones, I mean, the technology just makes everything impossible.
It isn't easy.
Just be a politician.
Yeah, exactly. So that also dials us into a more cartoonish state, right? How did they get to it? Forget wearing LED masks. How did they even get there? They took the train, they drove a car. All this, we have to more suspensions of disbelief have to start popping up to make a show that doesn't actually look like real crime that you're going to experience, right? So all these things start stacking, but you just embrace it and say, all right, we're making this cartoonish, young adult kind of cartoon show with the costumes and the masks and the types of crimes that they do. That again, I'm not interested in making a hyper realistic Robyn Hood, especially with black kids in the hood. I wasn't interested in making a hyper realistic drug dealer movie when I made Superfly, right? I'm just not doing that.
Huh.
So
I haven't seen that one. But I think they could have done a better job on the masks. That was the only complaint I had.
Factor into it. And again, Shadow said it. If it wasn't for the fact this was a race swap, gender swap, Robyn Hood tale, this would just be some Canadian show, and it would get sold internationally on some streamers, and maybe some countries would show it, and some people like it, and some people don't.
I don't know. It was his response to the criticism that really garnered attention to the show.
Maybe you get a DeGrasse, maybe you get a little bit of a cult.
There was a Robyn Hood that came out just recently where Jamie Foxx, I think, played Little John. Nobody cared.
Not only are people working, but people are getting experience, right? And there's nothing like the experience of being on a set or writing a show or actually doing the craft to get it. It just so happens
nobody cared when
storm at the perfect time. 10 years ago, no one would have cared. And I think the greatest
Lawrence Fishburne, nobody cared when he played Perry White. He was pretty good.
Shame, but the thing that I'm sad about with what's happened to nerd culture is that we're now reactive to the things we were never reactive to before, right?
Whose fault is that?
I mean, you're right.
Hollywood.
No one's fooled by this. But
what is the problem? I just watched the trailer. The show looks really fucking cool. What exactly is the problem? What are we complaining about here?
Give you a show.
It's a racist stereotype of black people.
I mean, for example, right?
Hey, you said it.
I didn't say it. He did.
Like look at what happened
on your YouTube, and there's a lot of videos that tell you everything that's wrong with it.
I mean, I'm part of this community.
From as heel versus babyface in particular.
Look at what happened with Black Panther, for example, right? When Black Panther came out, you had kids celebrating all over the place. Like, why were they celebrating? Because they were getting something that I guess they felt they never saw before. Now we can debate whether or not Black Panther was a good movie or not.
Yeah, they had never seen Spawn, I guess, or Blade.
It's like you see kids dancing on their desk and things like that, just happy.
Catwoman.
And that was
my mother wore dashiki to go see fucking Black Panther.
I saw that. You know what I mean? And
I like saying that.
I saw that, and there it was. Kids were celebrating it and everything like that, and they were drawn to it. And of course, Marvel went and killed the character. But what I'm saying is that
he didn't.
To be fair,
he did not want the. He did not want
I
that
said
character
the
killed.
character, not the brother. If they killed the
But
brother,
rest in peace, Chadwick. It's a hard place. It's a hard place to be in. It's a hard place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But what I'm
But he
saying
did
is
not
that the
want his
character that's been
character
around for,
killed
like,
off.
since
He
the-
wanted
what
him
was it, the
recast.
70s, the
His
very
brother
first
said
Marvel black
that
superhero is a
that
legacy
Chadwick said
character. It should have been protected, but it was
Black
killed.
Panther
But
should
that's an
live on.
original character.
The character's
right?
bigger than
So what we
the
have
actor.
here in this climate now, where it just seems like everybody is using race swapping as their gimmick. You know, it's like I did a video called America's Favorite M Word, and what I was saying was novelty, right? America's favorite novelties, where it's just like, I don't know what your favorite color is. What's your favorite color, Director X?
I don't even know. I'll just say black.
Don't say black. That's corny. What is it?
Black is beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm light skinned. Black is the there's a blackity black. Mark understand. But I don't know. Let's say
Mauve.
Okay, so your favorite color is red, right? You want a new car, right? They just keep on bringing you the same used car, but they keep painting it red. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same shit that you've been seeing. You want something new, but this is your color, isn't it? Here, this is how I feel looking at the entertainment industry these days.
Somebody
they're
said
giving
black
me
isn't a
the
color.
Same shit,
Yeah.
the same characters that I'm used to, but they keep putting
Just
a
the
fresh coat of
absence-
paint on it.
absence
and
of
saying
white,
to the black
right.
community, here you go.
I'm with you. Look, I had a problem with blonde James Bond. To put you in
Oh,
my mindset.
yeah, because he's supposed to be black haired.
No, I hear you. I hear
Daniel
you.
Craig. Me and my best friend had real discussions about Daniel Craig being blonde, like James
He is
Bond.
the worst James Bond. Like,
I don't really like
James
the
Bond
Daniel
isn't blonde.
Craig.
I had never read the.
that much.
See, I hadn't read the
He's
novels
very
before those
blonde.
movies came out, so
It's a
I
rip-off.
didn't know.
I feel like it's a
Nor
rip-off
did I
of
care
Jason
what
Bourne.
color his hair
Which is
his hair
funny
was.
because Jason
Classy
Bourne.
guy. Daniel Craig is more like the original James Bond from the novels. He's more of like an animalistic male. Like the
Yeah,
James
but he's
Bond
not
that
really
we
a
know is Sean
womanizer.
Connery. He's an
No,
attractive.
He is.
So here we
Pierce
here-
Brosnan was
so,
meant
but-
to be our.
But that's what we get into now, right? In the
James
modern
Bond
world,
is a male power fantasy. He sleeps with women, goes
We
on
know, Flash,
adventures,
we know.
drinks, smokes.
fast cars, has gadgets.
They've taken all, like, just about all that
God
is gone
damn it.
now.
Focus, guys. Focus. The point is
Sean
that you're not
Connery.
getting,
Focus,
not
you guys.
getting-
Focus, you
you're not
nerds.
getting something for you. You're not getting what you want.
It's hard
Just
for us to
getting
focus.
them repackaging the same thing over and over again. My thing is, as the audience, don't they think that we as an audience, whatever the target audience is, don't they think that they deserve something that is, if you, especially if you're calling yourself, I don't know if you are, but if they're calling themselves giving something to those people, or just making something
Those people?
new
What
for
do you mean
modern
those people?
audiences, don't you think it's a little condescending or insulting to just keep taking what was traditionally white and then slapping a coat of black paint on it, brown paint on it, and saying, here you go, here's your Snow White, even though Snow White is not Snow White anymore. Her name is Snow White because she's supposed to be white. That's not racist. That's just what the character is.
Yeah,
But
look,
of course, when
yeah,
people,
I thought-
but of course, when
I-
people
I-
point that out,
I
when people point
understand-
that
I-
out, you're
of course.
racist.
I understand this, but within on two levels. One, I understand taking established characters and flipping them over, right? Which part of me on my show, I didn't think of it in this way because there's how many interpretations of Robin Hood have there been?
Yeah, he's got a point there.
Modernizing
And
it
I
would've been
kind of
different
figured
if it was a black
that's
woman
what he thought.
1,000
Yeah.
years ago in the forest of England. Yeah, no, okay, well, now what are we doing over
Yeah,
here?
we've seen that
But
story billions of times.
Taking
Yeah.
Robin, modernizing it, bringing it to North America, flipping it around, but having the fun of keeping it. And again, 10 years ago, we all would have just, if you were into this young adult shit, you just would have enjoyed the ride or not. You would have said, "No, that's not for me," and kept it moving. We didn't complain when Nick Fury became black. There's a comic
No,
book when
they
Shuri
redesigned
becomes the Black
him
Panther.
with
First of all,
Samuel L.
no
Jackson's
one cared,
permission in
right?
the
And like I was
comics
saying,
before the movies
what
ever came
I'm
out with him.
disappointed
And
in now is the nerd culture was we
And that
were
was for the,
ones
like, the
pushing
ultimate,
the strong
universe.
female character, Princess Leia, Sarah Connor, Ripley. I mean, even Ghost in the Shell. We had these strong female characters, and that was what
Xena,
culture was before
Buffy.
anyone was paying attention now. You know, in Aliens 2, when Ripley goes and takes control of the battle wagon, let's say, from the incompetent lieutenant, we all would be complaining now, right? no one had an issue then because we all understood what was going on within the context of the movie. We have one incompetent man, but then we have a competent. It all worked, and now everyone's extra reactive to it and looking for. Now nothing makes sense. I mean, I've seen the ones where people are complaining in the pilot where Robyn takes the guy and throws him into the trash. That's not. She didn't pick him up over her head. That's a judo move. That's a body momentum, body mechanics move. That's real. Especially her.
I don't know if they were complaining that she did it or that she did it without training. Or maybe that.
Very easy move to make.
Right?
Someone kicking someone in the chest and knocking them over. If you know how to do proper
that's why people were complaining about Ray because she had like no training, but she could do everything that it took Luke multiple movies to be able to do.
This culture that was pushing that shit forward.
I mean, to be fair, all these the female-driven things from the past, like Kill Bill, Alien, all that, were very well written.
They were
Sarah
still
Connor
vulnerable
was
too.
a very well-written character, and then when she was on camera in Terminator 2, she was imposing. Like her body was ripped. Like the actress Linda Hamilton, she embodied like this insane, paranoid, like fierce woman. She did not wear makeup. Like there was nothing glamorous about her because she was in the shit and she did not care. She was ready to kill and do whatever. And like I said, she was a well-written character who like developed over several films, like 2 films.
Those characters also have a lot more in common than just being women too.
Xena had a crap ton of character development just in the first episode.
This was the culture, right?
Right, and I think this is where I think that a lot of things are kind of.
His dog must be acting up or something. Or his kid.
I'm just getting a drink.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, and I think this is where I think people are coming from. Because look, I'll be honest with you. I think I get you when you said that most people wouldn't have noticed this had it just been an original thing buried on Canadian TV. Being Robyn Hood brings attention to it. That's fair.
Yeah.
Right? That's also what the problem
is. Yes, the name brings
the people say when they swap all these characters. They specifically say, well, if we made a new original character who happened to be black or Asian or what have you, insert here, then people wouldn't pay attention to him. So that's why we swapped out this character. And I got
come up with a cool title for this. Just use different names.
Been done before, at least in some way, shape, or form in comic books or something before. So I think that's kind of the thing. Is honestly, I like your other idea better.
I kind of did too. The 18 thing.
You're right. 10 years ago. 10 years ago, this would have been a more original idea.
You should have done the Hood Power Rangers thing.
And I'm not trying to.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
No, they're not quite Power Rangers.
Power Rangers. Yeah.
No,
I just want another Power Rangers iteration. Okay, Robyn Hood.
No, they're
team.
not, bro. Bro, like I'm a big Toku Sentai guy. Like
nothing will ever beat the original though. Rita Repulsa.
You know what I'm saying?
You could have done that. You could have done that as a direct, like kind of Hood Power.
It's a different thing. And again, the budget to do a fight every episode.
No, and that's fair. And I'm not trying to shit on you because man, you got it through. You did what you did. But like, I think that's the argument here. Is something more original compared to something that's not. Black Panther, I think, was more of a timing thing that was an original and stuff like that.
The time it takes to make a show, things take about 10 years to happen. Of course, we all would have liked super hardcore Dark Knight Batman fucking version of Robyn Hood with a bunch of of course.
Yeah, well, we kind of got that with Green Arrow.
Is something we would watch, as opposed to something that's made for again a young adult audience. Watch it with your kid type of shit. I get those.
Yeah, see, people are saying that in chat. Green Arrow,
and that's what it's made for. I remember, and to be very honest with you, I'm watching. There's a moment where shooting Tuck is on the computer doing the hacking thing, and I had this moment. Remembering growing up where nothing like this existed for us, right? And for black kids, you get your TV was a bunch of white people and one black character, right? So to see a bunch of black kids getting to do the thing that
if he's talking about the 90s, there were a bunch of shows with like an all cast.
Asian and South Asian, and there's a whole bunch of people just
even in the 70s.
They just weren't there.
There were a lot of shows.
So it felt like
good times. Jefferson Son
would have been whatever, right? So what we have in this flipping of
Cosby
culture
Show.
And where we are now,
Can't remember when that
we
came out.
become overreactive to the things that this culture is what pushed forward. No, like if what would happen if we made Nick Fury black now? No one cared when they made Nick Fury.
Well, Nick
black.
Fury's a hero. He's not a band of criminals. So you've got black kids who are they're now
Black
criminals
Panther as a hero,
which was something when it was a British guy, right? But when it's a bunch of black girls or kids, I just saw like they were wearing glowing masks and everything. It looked cool as fuck. But when you say, look, we're giving something to black youth and they're committing crimes.
Yeah, but we
That's
went
a little.
we went through this.
Iffy.
The crimes they're committing are not like, I got a gun in your face, get out of your car, we're gonna go do a flash mob robbery.
Who are they stealing money from?
John Prince. And
The rich white
not-
guy.
The
Ethan, you.
privilege.
They're stealing money from you. Ethan.
Well, listen,
Here's the
who
thing,
like
too,
who
it's
is
like-
who is John
And they
Prince? Is
beat
he
in
a
your pool.
politician? Is
John
he?
Prince. John
Right.
Prince is a rich property developer. They live at the corner of Sherwood and Forest in a thing called the Sherwood Towers. The Sherwood Towers used to belong to the Prince family, and his father gave it to the city. And John Prince wants to buy it back. It's a little thorn in his side. He wants to buy it back and do some dastardly thing. Who knows? He wants to tear it down. He wants to do some shit with it. And
Okay. Wait,
they don't want
so-
to move. And this is based a bit on the new era housing.
He still hasn't figured out
Russell
what the
Brand
guy's
died
motivations are.
when a bunch of politicians tried to sell off.
Like,
some
what's he
public
want the
housing.
building for?
And the mothers, actually, the women that lived in that community said, we're not moving. And there's another thing that happened in Oakland, very similar thing where, I mean, this is not a new story where, especially now, where cities like, oh, do you live in public housing in a great part of town? Fuck off, move.
It's like he doesn't want to make it realistic, but at the
I'm
same time,
down
he's
the
bringing
block
the
from that
real
shit
world
here in Toronto.
So they're
issues
trying to
into
depower
it.
this guy by robbing him of his money and making him incapable of
Well,
tearing down their home.
in the story, Robyn's mother is an activist. She does a protest on his property. He sends someone to get arrested. She gets shot. When Robyn tries to go talk to him, because he has an idiot son, so Robyn goes up to talk to the idiot son and hears John Prince say, "Kill the woman. I just want her arrested, and now you've made more trouble. Just fucking get rid of her." And then when she hears that this man wants to kill her mom, they decide they're going to steal his precious gold coins. And they put on special, security camera, these scrambling outfits and put on their masks and do a heist. They do a daring do to get the coins, but they don't get the coins, so they steal his car and they sell parts of his car and able to free their mother out of jail and stop her from getting killed.
So this is.
You know
Are
what
you
I
writing
think, though,
this?
guys? Let me just
Spoiler
make this
alert.
point real quick. Because we were talking about what was it? People not seeing, like years ago, not seeing ourselves in these scenarios and stuff. I think that the objective was always to have your own. Like, there was a song, God bless the child that's got his own, right? So you can see yourself in certain stories, but why do you have to take on the persona of other people? Like that would be like me coming into YouTube. Like years ago, you didn't see a lot of black people on YouTube. So I'm going to make a channel. What's up, everybody? I'm PewDiePie. You know what I mean? It's like, you gotta have your own identity. I don't care how small my channel might be. I represent me, and I'm proud to represent me.
I think they're trying to say,
There's
like,
power in representing me. not
African
calling
culture
myself
has a
by some other
lot
person's
of
name. Not
original
wearing some other
stories, like
person's
that they could adapt.
speedos.
The Hollywood just
It's
never
like,
does.
and this is what I'm saying.
I hear you, but again, this is what I'm saying. I'm not saying we're not doing Ironheart over here or flipping Velma.
Mhm.
This is a
Velma.
1,000-year-old legend,
The show was
in the realm
horrible.
of how old Shakespeare is. And part of doing
As a
Shakespeare
Scooby-Doo fan,
is
it
flipping it, right?
totally
we
offended
can
me.
do gangsters in LA, or we're going to do New York City street gangs in the 50s, or we're going to do World War II soldiers, or we're going to do modern soldiers. There's all different versions.
Somebody said this is worse than
For
Velma.
example,
No,
there's
I
a
don't
show
think.
that's gonna be
No, nothing could
coming
be
out
worse than
called,
that.
Lawman Bass Reeves. I don't know if you've heard about that.
Mhm.
David
That looks like a good show.
Oyelowo, I think his name is.
The original Lone Ranger. Yeah.
That's
Yeah. All right.
Tim Sheridan.
You
I mean
but
Taylor Sheridan.
This
I
is
think
history
wrote
they're
that.
pulling from to tell a story that nobody knows about. Well, most people don't know about it, and there's dignity in this because David himself is saying, "I wanted to bring something that that shows the place of Black people in history and the
Tom.
contributions that they made in this way. Like there's truth in this storytelling. You know what I mean?"
Yeah,
So
somebody
it's
said
like,
nothing
I
is worse
get
than
the
Velma.
whole,
Let's be honest.
like the race swap thing has just been done to death at this point, and that's where the backlash is coming from. It's like I think that a lot of people are criticizing it because they see it as ripping off other
I
people's
liked
culture and tradition.
Quentin
And then there
Tarantino's
are people
Django
on the other
Unchained
side of things
because
who
that
are
was
Black,
something I had never
who are
seen
raising
before.
kids
Black
like
bounty
me who want
hunter,
to just
like
show
former
that
slave.
you can forge your own
That's pretty
path.
cool.
Like in other words, it's dangerous to say to people, the best you can be is an imitation of somebody else. You know what I mean? And that might be what some people might get from even the kiddiest of shows. You know, they deserve to see something that they can actually find
Oh,
some
somebody
pride
said he
in
didn't
that
write the
didn't
show
already
though.
belong to somebody else.
I don't know.
And,
You know
and
what I
to
Maybe he
your
didn't.
point, Mark, and that's what
I thought he
that's
said
what
he
my question's always been
created
is
it, but I don't
why
know.
don't they have
Guess-
African cultural
Guess he's just a
stories that they
showrunner,
can tell, like
but he's not the
so they can
writer.
introduce people to
Question mark?
their cultural stuff. I mean, we have cultural stuff, like Persian people have cultural
No
stuff
one
that I
likes
wish people
sloppy
would
seconds.
make,
Yeah,
the
yeah. A lot of
stories
people
of
have said that.
Rustam, or
Why would they want
there's all
hand-me-down
these
characters?
legends and amazing things that we have that nobody's making because they keep going to these other places like Marvel, just race swapping, sex swapping everybody and making it here you go. That's it. That's what you get.
Can I just
And
say,
make
I
them
think there's
gay
like
and
you just
lame.
said, there's a big difference between like race swapping Spider-Man from Peter Parker and presenting him as black, and then taking a legend that's existed for a long time in its own place, in its own context in England, taking that legend, transporting it somewhere else to modern times. You're not saying this is literally Robin Hood. You're saying this is interesting. This is something very much like Robin Hood. It's like a coincidence in
I heard this is supposed
storytelling.
to be a
And this
Zorro
is very much
show
something like
about
a
a girl
legend that
who's a
happened
hacker.
500
Something
years
I don't,
ago. But it's
random.
happening now in this
So
town,
random.
with these
In this
characters.
era. Yeah.
It's
It's
not
like
the
you might as
same
well call it
thing. It
something
just
else.
isn't the
At that
same
point.
thing.
And change
And
it
it's,
that fundamentally.
that's the whole thing. If he were doing Robin Hood in the year 1500 and the entire cast was black, then it would be a little bit weird because you'd be like, "What's going on
A
here?"
little
This
bit
isn't
weird.
the way
Well, that's
it
like
probably
The
would
Witcher.
happen.
Hold
How
on.
Just taking the
diverse that
story and
show
putting
is
it
when
into-
it's just
and I
it's
get
set
that.
in
But
Poland
but
in
that
this
idea.
Robin Hood-
medieval times.
this Robin Hood is still stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, right? Ethan, like this Robin Hood is
Ethan.
still stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, right? That's the basic premise of what Robin
Sure.
Hood is. So
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that in what world do black people steal from the rich and give to the poor and fucking craziness doesn't happen to them? You know what I mean?
It's a
So all I'm saying-
fantasy. It's
yeah,
what
I
we
get
wish
that it's
would
a
happen.
fantasy. I get that it's a fantasy, but I know that there are kids who latch on to these images nonetheless. I'm not blaming Director X for the ills of the hood. I'm not doing that. I'm looking out for the kids that I see out here every day who are desperate looking for images. And I don't like it. I don't like the fact that they do that because we all know that it's fiction. But do these kids know that? I'm talking about the young ones out here. I'm saying
People
and
say
I began
EVS is being
hours
facetious.
ago
I could
talking
see that.
about the rate of self-harm, in the black community.
Oh yeah,
all
Robin
of this
Hood
stuff
was a
that's going
fantasy, by
on,
the way. That was a true
unwanted
story.
pregnancies, all of this stuff. It comes from somewhere. It comes from bad parenting, number one. I'm not getting away from that at all. But also, when you're in a state like that and people are in a state like that, you have to put under the microscope.
It's like King Arthur.
everything
It
that they're
might
ingesting,
be
from the
based off
music
somebody,
to the TV
possibly
shows, everything.
historically.
So,
Well,
like I said, it's not about
But
pointing fingers.
there's no,
I
just
get. Look,
evidence,
there's a few
hard
things going on.
evidence
Like
of that.
comic art, Ethan. Comic
Yes,
art, pro.
sir. Yeah.
Right. So you see where I feel this show is coming from and why it's not quite the same thing as
It's race swapping. I haven't.
Spider-Man,
The chat's like,
Iron Man.
watch the show. Listen, I haven't watched the show. I'm not commenting on the quality of the show. Maybe it sucks. I haven't seen it. But we're talking about the themes in the
It's
show.
the
We're
greatest
talking
show you've
about-
ever seen. Ask anybody.
All right. Well, let me watch it. I will watch. I will watch a few episodes and
Yeah,
decide
give me a 10 on IMDb. So
Review bomb.
Review
I
bomb
think-
you?
Yeah,
said-
rating
So I put
bomb.
in all caps. The quality
Um,
sucks.
The whole
What's
show's in
what's
the
opposite of a
chat.
review? What's the opposite of a review hype? Whatever. So I think there's something to be said.
Yeah, there is such thing as
with
positive review
what Mark is
bombing
saying
shows. Like
about
we've seen
at
it
what
before.
point, and this is outside of the show. At what point does a show have a larger responsibility to a community in the things that it's putting
Oh,
out?
somebody
I just
said
say this
Az
real-
should have
real
been
quick,
on
real quick?
here tonight. Yeah, I wish he
I
would
mean,
have
all
been
of
on.
us, bro. You know what I mean? It's like I put myself
Yeah,
first
he's
in
probably
this too. I'm not just trying to
dead
dump
asleep right now.
on you. Like everything that I've talked about over the years, whether it's Star Wars or whatever, it's like I start with me. You know what I mean? So I'm not just trying to beat up on, like I said, your hard work and production and all that stuff. But I'm just saying all of us have that challenge. I just want to see that challenge put out there. Just to consider these things going forward.
No, look, it's a fair thing to say. It changes some thoughts.
Can I ask some questions?
Some people think it's just a race baiting show, just
so
like
the main character's
Watchmen.
name is
People
Robyn,
called that a race baiting show.
With a
right?
Y.
Yeah.
With a Y. What's she like? Who is she? Tell me about her.
The show starts off. She's a bit of a fuck up. You know, she does deliveries for different delivery apps, and she's making music, and she wants to move
Uber
to the big city because New
Eats or
Nottingham
whatever.
lives in the shadow of Mercia, the big city. So she wants to move to the big city and
Waiter.
make music, but she doesn't want to let her mother know she's making music because her father was a rapper too, and a bit of a fuck up himself. So
I've
that's
seen
why she
this
wears the
before
mask
in Sister Act
to hide
2.
her identity, mainly from her mom. And then, she'll go and make music and be a big star. And then, she's just a kid. She's just a normal person with dreams. And then when her mother's an activist, her mother works at the
Yeah,
community
the girl
center,
wanted
her
to be
mother
a
gets
singer, and
into
her mom
trouble
said,
with the law.
"No, your
It pulls
dad
her back in
want."
to the
How did
thing.
she put
And
it?
look,
So
so
did
she's
he,
Luke
and he
Skywalker,
died.
essentially.
Still trying to make
she's a
that
little
dream
Luke
work.
Skywalker. She got
Also a
she's
little
got
bit
people on the
sluttier
streets
though, because she does a
saying
condom
that
jar.
shoulda,
Sluttier
shoulda,
than Luke
woulda.
Skywalker,
Yeah.
Nina.
Yes.
She's
My
bisexual.
goodness.
I'm
She's
just saying.
bisexual.
I
I'm
don't
just
think
saying
that's an
hold on.
excuse.
Of course she is.
This is an inference. Ethan's a good one to put this on since he hasn't watched the show and he just hears all talking.
Someone said
she
she's
wakes
Ray
up in the morning
Palpatine.
and we want to establish that the mom, and this is Chekhov's gun.
I don't know if she's bisexual, but she was a
the
marriage
mother
suit.
says, "Oh, you came in late last night. I put more condoms in the condom jar." She says, "I was at Alan's house," and makes a face because Alan's a friend. And then she says, "Whatever, just don't catch nothing." Right? So it's not that she's the angry nerd world is that she's a slut. She has a condom jar.
I heard this. Yeah, I did hear about this.
Show don't tell.
I would
You
think
haven't
that. I
seen
mean,
her
if
sleep with a
the
bunch of
jar
people.
was
But the mother
being
goes to the
emptied really
community center,
fast, like
the type
like
person to
it
say,
was
"Where's your
emptied within a
condom?
couple of
Well, make
days.
sure you're wearing a condom because you were out late last night."
Little do we know, she just has a balloon animal addiction.
Oh wait, you said we didn't see it, but didn't the mom?
Yeah, condoms just
didn't the
work
mom
better than the
say
balloon
she
animals.
just refilled it.
Yeah, she just refilled it. She just refilled the condom jar.
It was Halloween.
Say
so
she-
it
I
doesn't
mean,
matter.
who's using the condoms then?
Yeah, what if the
Friends
kids
over,
come in and
guys,
ask what
please,
that is?
It's a community.
What those things are in the jar?
I'm genuinely curious because somebody brought up the condom jar and you go, well, she's bisexual. Like, what the fuck was that?
Oh, she's
No,
bi.
I'm being serious. Okay, look, my wife is bisexual, right?
Do lesbians
Like,
need
she didn't
condom jars?
fuck around her entire childhood. Like, she didn't fuck around when she was a teenager. Like, I just didn't get that.
It's you guys reading into this way more.
No,
than
you
it's
said it.
credit.
You
Yes,
said
he
it. He
said
goes.
but
He
hold
goes.
on.
What about the
Again,
condom jar? And you
I
go, well, she's
really
bisexual.
hope.
Like,
I hope
I'm
your
just trying to
wife is
figure it out.
heterosexual
Dog,
right now. I mean,
it's not Andor. It's not Star Trek. We didn't write this to be like episode.
You know what I'm saying,
episode
Mark?
5 of scene when you said the screw turns right, not like
Little down, Ethan.
not that type of. I'm not dealing with that level of nerd on this.
Andor's
Oh
a
no,
really
no,
good show.
this isn't
That's
about being
the
a nerd.
best thing
I'm
Disney
just
has
wondering
done
where that comment came
with
from.
Star Wars brand.
Because we're establishing the mother's type of character. She is a worker. She's a community worker. She works in the community center. She's
Not
the
really
type of
paying much
person
attention
that
to
would have a
her
condom
kid, I
jar
guess.
At work, she'd have a condom jar at home, right? She just refilled.
She's just
the
like,
condom.
okay, here,
I'm
here's
sorry,
the condom.
Director.
But when it got brought up, you go,
My
well, she's
here
bisexual.
is
It's like,
tough.
what the fuck was that? Like, I get what you're saying about the show. I'm wondering where your fucking comment came from. Like, am I like?
I think
like,
he thought
insane
I
or
was
something?
going
You're
to.
reaching-
I
you're
think he
reaching,
thought I
Edward.
was
You're
going to
reaching.
say.
Maybe
I'm
she's
not
just
reaching.
maybe
I'm
she's-
just
you're
asking
reaching,
you the
you're reaching.
question.
No, Crow. I
Maybe
think
she's just
he
more
thought.
bi-curious because she's using the condom jar a lot more.
No, Crow. I think
Yeah.
he thought I was going to
Okay.
say bye, but I said condom jar, so it just came out at the same time. I think. That's
Okay,
that's how
all
it
right.
happened.
I was just trying to figure out what the fuck that was. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's just
Yeah,
no. It was just funny to me though because Director X regarding the condom, the jar thing. Like I just found it funny because I never heard of.
I have never
anything
seen
like
that before in
like
my
a
life.
condom jar. Like I mean, I've obviously people have. You know, my mom told me about safe
Somebody
sex.
said,
and
"She's a
all
harlot,"
that
all
kind of
caps.
stuff, but we were never like I was never involved in it or knew anyone who had
It is a
mother
funny
that had a
concept to
jar
me
of
too.
condoms where,
No, but again,
like friends would go over and pick
It's like
some
I've heard of
condoms
cookie
out.
jars.
Yeah.
I've heard of
She is a community
penny
activist.
jars.
She works at literally
Swear
works at the community
jars.
center. The first thing she says to Robyn, "Are you going to work on this program over the summer?" This is the type of person to have the condom jar at home, at work.
I got you. I got you. It just wasn't part of my world, so I was like, "What?"
Yeah, but
Not even
again,
part of my
we're-
lexicon.
look, again, we all understand the realities of a TV show. You're
Must be an
introducing
LA
characters,
thing.
You're trying to make someone understand. All right, this is what's going on. Again, it's Chekhov's gun with the condom jar. She's concerned about these things. She's a community activist. We're
Sure.
Just
painting
weird.
a picture
Just
of
very
who
weird.
the mother's supposed to be.
What are you laughing at, Ethan?
Like it's supposed to be for
I
like
love this
14-year-olds.
whole thing. It's so great.
This,
Oh, it's
this
wonderful.
show,
I
it's
almost
so
don't
weird.
have a problem
I'm
with the
just thinking
condom
about
jar as
balloon
much as
animals.
it's the fact that she has to keep topping it up. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
that's
You don't know the
Balloon
last time-
animals.
You
You
don't
guys
know
are
how long
sweet.
she's been letting
Vicarious.
that thing drop down. You don't know if she's the
She a hoe. There's
Or
nothing
could it
wrong
be-
You
with
don't
it.
know where they're going. Season 2 will find
She a
out.
hoe.
Yeah, maybe.
Balloon animals. Yeah, okay. Everywhere.
Yeah, she could be handing them out the moment you come into the house.
Maybe they're filling up,
Handing them out like they do at
water
college.
and, like, throwing them at the rich
Yeah.
people. Is that
There
what's
you go.
happening?
When the cops come in, those are.
Did she steal the
There you go.
condoms from the rich people too? She's giving those out to the poor.
This is the writers' room now. We're working.
Well, and
it
if
out.
that's the case, then think about, like, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna
Is
go
this
there.
is this your show that
We're coming up on an hour, and I think I'm gonna wrap it up because
you're writing it too,
and
or
it
you
seems like
working with
they're
writers?
Oh,
they've
no,
gotten
it's a
more of
TV
a
show. We got
positive
writer's
vibe
room, we got
going.
Multiple
So-
writers. I'm a co-showrunner. I created it, but
Okay,
the
co-showrunner.
writers are the writers. So
Oh,
What's up
okay.
next for you?
He didn't
What are you doing
actually
next?
write a
I
lot
got
of
a
it.
lot going on.
Apparently.
There's a lot going on. I still am in the commercial music video film world, so I'm living the life of a director. I'm developing and pitching and selling and shooting and traveling. I'm doing all that stuff.
I hope he makes his
I
own
think that
original
people
stuff.
around here, like I think their biggest problem is they don't want to be insulted by Hollywood and by the media they consume anymore.
Yeah,
And I think
that's
the one
that's
thing
soured
where
them on Hollywood
we would-
more than
if I
anything.
could
The,
talk
and
to
the
you and get
constant
through to you about
attacks, the
something,
insults.
there's an awful lot of that. There is hatred for people who are conservative, people who may
Vitriol.
have voted differently than you did. And I think that's the real problem that we face. We feel isolated, shunned. We feel like we're not a part of, we're not invited to be a part of the media that you're creating. And I personally don't have a problem with what you're talking about. I disagree with these guys that there's a race swap going on. I don't think that's the case here. I haven't watched the show, so I don't want to comment on if it's socially harmful for kids. I don't
I'm
want to
glad
die
EBS
anyway.
came
I'm not
on
a
because he
fucking-
really
we're not
diffused
Tipper
the
Gore
situation.
around
It was
here.
getting
That's not
really
who we are.
heated
but,
for
Have
a
to
few
be, man.
minutes.
You don't see it outside your window like I do.
How do you
That's the
know?
thing.
I grew up in Camden, New Jersey, brother.
Okay.
I've seen shit,
Camden.
No,
Okay. All right.
That's-
So
you know
what
what?
I'm
You know
saying is
what?
this.
I apologize.
Also a
for
city
that
in
because
London.
You're right.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
Camden, New Jersey, baby. Fuck. I
Jersey.
know,
all right.
right?
Okay. So what
Apparently
I'm saying
they
is,
both
the only
know
thing
something
that we
about
want to
the.
be concerned about is I think people want to feel, since the word inclusion is bandied about so much, the word inclusion comes with a hefty dose of insults at people who are conservative Christian, et cetera, et cetera. And nobody wants to see that anymore. I think people would like to feel like they're included in this inclusion and be a part of whatever it is. Now, if it's good or bad, I mean, that's on people to decide, but for themselves, that's a matter of opinion. But what isn't a matter of opinion is there is disdain in Hollywood for people who are represented by the community that you're surrounded in right now, and that shit's got to stop. It's just got to stop.
Oh, very much. I agree. Look,
Well,
again,
and that's
the
where my
reason-
anger came from earlier.
That's why he's a fan
Yeah,
of
and look,
these,
I
these people, right?
understand.
Like
We're talking about a community here. We're all
they're
over
speaking
it.
to how he
I'm a little more lefty,
views things.
but I'm like lefty. I'm not real lefty. I'm not this, So I'm like
Left crazy.
class solidarity lefty, if you understand what I'm saying. So the coming over here and talking with you guys is just what makes sense. If you have a problem with someone, you go talk to them. That's been my issue from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Just talking about me. What's up? What do you want to talk about?
That's
Right.
a lot of applause for that,
I love
because
that
you know
about
what?
you.
We had a Zach
Somebody
Snyder come
said
in here
Director
and
X is
insult
the new
piss out of this
Lofty.
entire community
I wonder
after
what
we
happened to
raised
Lofty.
$100,000 for his suicide charity, and he can go
It-
fuck himself. But
I mean,
I
it-
appreciate it. I appreciate your being here to address people's concerns.
Well,
I
you
think
know, look,
that's good.
yeah.
Zack
you know,
Snyder's a
talking-
piece of shit. I agree. Big piece of shit.
I mean, that wasn't cool what he did when he went on that charity stream.
You know, being a white man having a conversation with anyone conservative, if they want to sling mud, they're going to sling mud at him, right? So it's bullshit. It's whack, and this is not how we move forward. We're all literally in the same boat together, right?
People calling him Hack Snyder.
There's a Bible verse in the show.
Army of the Dead
The
sucks.
Bible verse says, "Better a close neighbor than a far brother." Proverbs 27, verse 10. And that is really the theme. When I said what we focused on with the show was community. Because the shit goes down, it doesn't matter who the fuck your fucking neighbor voted for. You got water?
Yeah. We'll still be stuck in it together.
Yeah.
If the aliens come down, we're gonna have to band together if they want to kill us all.
And that's truly the messaging of the show. Again, you know, Mark and I can have a conversation about how you balance out, and which is very real. You got a bunch of black kids in a show. How are you going to balance out this messaging with regard to how the world works, right? But the main thing we focused on was community and fighting the power. That sometimes you have to fight, even though you know you're going to lose, right? Did anyone know the word that the Chinese have actually word for it? They have a whole type of movie and type of story that the whole point of the story is that the hero is going to die, but they're going to fight anyways because that's the right thing to do, right? And I'm sure we've all seen
Hero. That was a
something.
good
They have a
movie.
word,
Hero.
right? But you know, we've all seen these kung fu movies. Like, there's no chance.
Ronin, man, yeah.
Right, but that's what we're talking about in the show. That there's fights you need to have, win or lose, and that community is how you get through it. And your neighbor is more important than anything else. Better a close neighbor than a far brother. So
I live in Louisiana, so anytime we get a hurricane, man, we're all in it together.
Don't talk to them, ignore them. Right, just let them do what they're doing, and I just don't agree. Right, you can't make a show with a Bible verse like that, and then be like, fuck off, I'm not going to talk to you. Right?
Yeah, I have respect for that. Like for the fact that you came on and are talking to us, and I think it's very Canadian of you, so that's good.
Yeah, I just want to say too that I get passionate about this just because, like I said, I just deal with my kid and his friends are not just black. They're like, we're doing a number on these kids whether we know it or not. It's like with CRT, it's like you got white kids who are ashamed to be white, you got black kids who are ashamed to be black. It's like everybody should love who they are. Everybody should have pride in who they are. And even I didn't mean to belittle you with what I said there, because absolutely, I'm not going to downplay your life experience. It's just that I would really love to see something different before my eyes close for the last time. Because
somebody said Direct X thinks he's better than everyone. Who cares?
We're going now.
Who cares?
The next generation of people, like all across the board, are just going to be fucked up, man. You know what I mean? It's like, they need to know that it's okay to be who they are, no matter what. So when I do look
what matters is at the end of the day, they can all respect each other.
Yeah, like I said, I put it all
respect
under
each
the
other's
microscope
opinions.
because something is causing them to feel this way. And it seems like it's in every area of our culture, whether it's politics, whether it's the entertainment industry, they just stay like getting at these kids, So I'm just like, every time I get a chance, I just challenge all of us to kind of just be a little bit more purposeful, with what we're giving them, because we got to be able to fight back. It's got to balance out. Those who know have to do better, because there's people out here who's targeting them for sure,
Yeah, there's a bunch of, look, we all get it. There's whether it's just coincidental or innocent, people writing their beliefs into something. We're just in a wild time. And which again brings you back to no one's changing their mind if you don't talk, right? If we're just yelling at each other from across the room and and smashing on each other, then there's definitely no one going to change their mind and say, oh, maybe maybe there's something there. Like I said, I didn't.
Yeah, trying to change people's minds is pointless.
Right, this cop, and he made me really kind of see, oh wow, if these guys are actually honest about what they're trying to help.
There's some good ones.
Oh, there's definitely some good ones, right? And then once you get into oh, there's some good ones.
Yeah, there's good and bad in every faction of humanity.
But we never
Doesn't
get
matter.
anywhere if
Maybe
not-
it's more like there are some bad ones. Like,
I was
most
gonna
police
Exactly.
officers
yeah,
put themselves
exactly.
on the line
Well,
every
the
day, and they
chances
deserve
are.
respect.
But
you know?
even those bad ones,
Very
don't-
true, E.
even those bad, like my friend, we
Those
said
bad
this
ones don't
before, my
represent
friend
the
from college, when he
entire
first became a cop, was very much like tackle you to the
entire
ground,
force.
rough you up, throw you in the. You're a bad guy. I'm a good guy. I got you. And
Mhm.
you'd look at him like, oh, that's a bad cop, right? It's not that he's a bad cop. He's just he thought his way of going about it, right? And it wasn't until he really got into the community, walked into a kid's house and saw there's a lock on the refrigerator, and said to the mom, "Why do you have a lock on your refrigerator?" And she said, "Oh, because these kids, if I don't lock the refrigerator, they'll eat all the food, and I can't afford." To
Somebody
buy the
said he called us
he was
racist.
there to
Well,
arrest the kid because
I think
he ran a football team and saw
they
his
might have
face
proved
up
him
'cause he had lunch
wrong
they
throughout
would
this
do
whole
beanings and
discourse because they
beat
didn't
up
just
some
say,
kid for a
"Oh,
couple bucks and do
F off,
stupid
get
kid
off of
shit.
here," you know,
Which when he was
and
older,
boot
a
him.
different type of cop would have been tackling
They
you to the
kept
ground and rough you
they
up.
kept
But
talking
now
to
that he
him,
knew
trying
these
to
kids,
see
knew
his
what
point
was
of view
going on,
and
became,
hear him
"Come
out,
here, man, you did something fucking dumb. Let's go."
Community policing
and
is
then give their
important, man.
points too.
Which
Yeah.
still gets back to we're not getting
Which
anywhere
I
if we
think
don't
this
talk
was
to
all
each other,
very productive
especially now. Especially
discussion,
now when they're trying to
and
push
hopefully it
each
And
ends
this
Why
is what
didn't
I was
anybody
trying
want to
to
talk to
on
you?
a
You said you
positive
talked
note
to this
too.
community. You got everybody making these videos saying, "I'm not talking to him." It's
But
interesting.
here we are.
This is
We're
a
all
great.
talking.
This is I appreciate it. Yellow Flash was like, "No, I'll talk to him."
Yeah, the
Yellow
only
Flash
one
is
that
very brave and
really
he did the
staunchly
right thing.
refused to
This is a
talk to him was
conversation.
Az
I
at
thought
Heel
this would be an
versus
entertaining
Babyface.
stream, and so far it has
I
been.
think Gary
I
still
haven't
wanted
even
to talk
made
to him.
I haven't even made
but
very many videos
I
about
don't know if
this.
he
I mean,
invited.
it's like
know,
do and it's short. I don't even make the shorts.
The
Yeah.
problem is that people in Hollywood shut out our voices. They've decided that we're Nazis. They've decided we're bigots and all this stuff, and they're not going to listen. So we don't exist to them. And an opportunity to
Yeah,
actually
Doomcock
speak to
was the
somebody who's
villain
creative,
in
who's got his
She-Hulk
own
at
TV
the
show
end.
right now, and he'll listen. He'll talk. Everybody needs to talk to him and stop being assholes about it and just say, "No, hey, listen, we'll be your audience too if you'll just." Make things a little bit so that we feel like we're a part of it and we're not the ones that are being hated on and things like that. That would be wonderful. See, we have lefties in the comic book industry for years who write comic books, and I know what their politics are, but they've always been able
What
to
does it
show
matter?
both sides. This was before recently, but they used to be responsible in showing both sides of an argument. And we've lost that somehow. There's an otherism.
Well,
that's
we're
going
in
on.
we're in a weird world. Like I tell people, what would Captain Kirk do? Would Captain Kirk be? Sometimes people shouldn't be allowed to talk. You know what I'm saying? Would that be the message of the free speech episode? Some people should shut the fuck up. No, of course not. We know
Nope.
what it would be. But now right? We're in a very strange place where entertainment doesn't. They take a side. And the point of the whole
Yeah,
thing
it's
is
very strange.
one of the writing rules is
Strange
2 +
new
2.
worlds.
You don't tell them it's 4. You give them the equation, and the audience will answer it. You give them the 2, and you give the other 2, and they'll say it's 4. And we're in this place, and it's boring, and no one likes it. 2 + 2 is 4. Or, all right, well,
Yeah,
that
they
has nothing
tell
to do.
you
And
what to
look,
think.
I'll say, and I had this conversation today, pitching a commercial. The audience enjoys figuring it out. You all remember there's a video for Sean Paul
Yes.
called Temperature.
I love things that just make you think and consider
the video
multiple
we do the
possibilities.
Now, I remember people cluing in as they watch the video, go, "Oh, you're doing the seasons." Just a little tiny bit of not even a
Multiple
challenge, but a
facets of
little
the
bit
same
of making
problem.
your brain work a bit, and the audience respects it. And I think that's part of what why we all love this culture and we love this entertainment is that's what it did. The Star Trek and Star Trek: The Next Generation are great examples of that. They would always give you both sides of a conversation and let the audience walk away with their decision. And it never felt preachy, and it never felt it felt very like
He's more of a nerd than he let on. If he knows all this
Yeah,
stuff.
of course.
things that they're saying, and the Prime Directive, right? And we're just at a very odd place now, and no one wants to talk, and no one wants to listen. I don't know how many people are watching, but clearly people are watching.
Well,
Right.
Director X, I could tell you something from my perspective, and I'm just speaking for myself because most people on here are men, except for Jay Longbone and that Star Wars girl
Speak
who
for
stepped
yourself.
away. I'm gonna speak for myself.
Are you gonna
And
assume my
what I'm gonna
pronouns?
say is that we miss men, especially hot men. Okay, now I get that you had to like sex swap your show to have a
Little
lady
John's hot.
Robyn Hood. He's great. He's fantastic. He's very hot. But we need more of that. So like when I hear like Robyn Hood, I was like, oh, I want like an.
That's
Arrow
why the
type
Marvel
show where
movies
the
have
dude
fallen
is, like,
off.
just rail,
People watching them
and like
because
using those
they're not
bow and
showing the hot
arrows.
guys as much
I understand
anymore.
that
That's
you're-
one reason.
I understand that you're going for the 14 plus, but all those girls, trust me, they want to see what I'm talking about, and just
Yeah, why do you think
men
Arrow
in
was
your
so popular?
shows. Like, I mean, I just feel like men aren't
Besides that, it
getting
was
enough
well
love
written, at least the
anymore.
first couple seasons.
It's just all female empowerment and fake female empowerment, and
We
need more love.
Well, look, I mean, look, that goes back. We started going down the James Bond rabbit hole, but it is.
They go on
not
forever.
only was he blonde.
What is that? What
The
is he?
number one comic book of the week, Black Riding Hood.
You need to send me
look
that.
at this.
You have to
I
do
will.
Black
that.
Riding
How do I get
Hood,
your
what?
address? Because I'll
We're
send it to you.
Yellow Flash. We'll figure it out.
I'll send you his Twitter handle.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, we'll hook
Because
up.
you're clearly the most reasonable person on this panel.
Oh, think that for 1 second. I'm worse than all of
It's
you.
funny when he said that about EBS.
Man amongst men. But like I'm
Frick.
saying, look, they took James Bond. Forget about blonde James Bond for a second, but he lost his not just the sex. But the bigger picture is I think non-nerds have come into this and started saying they'll fix it, right? So they come in not only
Fix it in
because
post.
James Bond, Daniel Craig, James Bond, not have. I don't think he slept with any. Did he sleep? He slept with somebody, but it just wasn't
in Skyfall.
It wasn't
well,
like,
no, he's a couple, but it wasn't.
Well,
it
and
wasn't
Casino
all the
Royale.
time.
it wasn't James Bond. Like he was in
Yeah.
love. Yeah, like it was. And then he didn't have what his gadget was like a gun that only he could shoot.
I think
He
Skyfall
crying
was the
over
most
that woman
like
from the first
actual
movie
James
for like
Bond.
3 movies.
Yeah,
Out of those.
yeah, like, and he had like, so he's crying over the girl. He has a gun that like that's not a gadget. That's literally a gun you can buy commercially right now. James Bond's gadget is a gun. So they took away his gadgets, but they kind of gave him a. So they de-nerded it.
He had a little radio in Skyfall.
Look, putting the computer chips in Friar Tuck's hands was a thing. They were like, oh, take that out. No, I'm not taking that out. That's the cool shit. Yes, but we're doing some nerdy shit.
I like the gadgets.
Yeah, he's a nerdy. He's a fucking. He has. Yeah. So Ethan, he has a Friar Tuck now has a new religion, and then he has microchips in his fingers, so he can like be one with the computer. He's like this.
See, even in shows you don't like, you can still find some
It's
things that you like.
again, it's normie sci-fi.
Like I don't
But even
totally
in that,
like
we'd have those
Ahsoka because of the
conversations.
writing, but there's
You
still
don't
some
need
stuff
that.
in it.
You know, just the normies, they don't like the nerd shit. They don't like the gadgets. They don't like the sex. They don't like, and to do that to James Bond, it's just there's like a husk of what it was supposed to be. And I just feel like that we had this one great moment. We all got really excited when Marvel was following the source material. Because I mean, I'm looking at there's some gray on. We all remember the dark days when it would be the comic you like, and then nothing would be the thing from the fucking comic.
It's just
right?
kind of
And you had
better
this one
for
little moment where
nerd
they
stuff to
did
be
the book,
niche,
right? 300 and all
rather
this
than
stuff.
mainstream.
And then now we're back to the fucking
So we can
bullshit, where it's
get
like,
what we want.
yeah,
If it's just
kind of
us,
character you
the
want.
audience,
It's kind of the character
that
you
made
want.
it popular
It's
to
kind of
begin
this
with.
thing. And again, since they're normies, they think we like Star Wars just because it says Star Wars. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
just
Snake Eyes is
lightsabers
popular.
and
Do you remember this? Did anyone watch
lasers.
the Snake Eyes movie?
No,
No, I heard it
didn't
was
watch
terrible.
I got better shit to do.
Jeremy from
Snake
Geeks and
Eyes-
Gamers, I think he watched it, and he's
Snake Eyes was a
huge.
dealer, and he doesn't put the mask on. He talks the whole movie.
He's a huge
sells
G.I.
the
Joe
whole thing,
fan.
and then he
Hated
puts on
it.
the mask at the end of the movie.
Yeah, that's fine.
Jesus Christ. Yeah,
He
like,
should never talk.
never. Wear the mask and don't talk. And I'm with you. Look.
First of all, Snake Eyes is not Asian in the original.
That this is what it is.
They made him Asian in
Right?
the
Snake Eyes was
Snake
a white
Eyes
guy
movie.
in the comic book.
Yeah.
I'm on that. I just do what the fuck. Do the source material, man. I know it's weird. I know it's fucked up, but there's a bunch of white people that love Japanese culture. He's one of those guys. You know what I'm saying? Do the source material. I'm a source material guy. And I know this seems crazy to say, oh, but within the way we were trying to shape Robyn Hood, we were shaping it around the source material, right? Gilbert Redcap is in the original legend. Even and then when we didn't go back to the
Gilbert
the
Redcap.
legend itself, we went back to the actual history. Mercia
I don't think I've read the
what London
original.
was, what England was. We went back to the source
I
material.
read Howard
The battle
Pyle's
between Prince John
edition.
and his father. The actual Prince John and Richard the Lionheart went to war against the father, right?
And then Robin
Right? That's why
McKinley
the father
wrote
we dug
wrote
on some
a
movies,
really good
dug
Robin
into
Hood
to original source
tale,
material
The
and tried to bring it
Outlaws of
back.
Sherwood.
But like
You
all
should
said,
dig into the 1939 movie too and start to pull references from that, and put all things Robin Hood, all things from all different
Errol
Robin
Flynn,
Hood
yes.
variations into the show.
we were trying to. That's why there were the fox. No one gave me props for the fox and the bear.
Loxley.
No one's gonna.
Oh
give me
wow,
props
wow,
for the
wow.
fox and the
The
bear.
okay, the
None.
masks to wear the
Like
fox
they're
and the
so
bear.
angry at me. They're like, I can't get a little love for the fucking fox and the bear.
That's
Like,
very
come on,
clever.
guys. It's fucking
Yeah.
Disney. It's the Disney thing.
The
Hello.
little fox and the bear. I mean,
Fox and the
yeah.
bear. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But again, we're all angry because it's woke. But it's again.
Somebody said
I'm
ABS is the
angry
bear.
because there needs to be more hot guys. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Give me a man Robin Hood. Like, I want Robin Hood to be a man going after the man.
And I'm kind of with Ethan. I totally understand why you did it. My thing is just it feels like you could have been a little bit more clever with a few things. And there's things you could have done not to
He's
feed
probably
into
still
certain
learning this
stereotypes,
whole
whether you
director
meant to
thing,
or not,
showrunner
obviously
thing.
not. But at the same time, it's like we've had so many of these things already. You're right. The reason I think that Black Panther resonated the way it did, it's not the first time we had a black superhero, but it was the timing of it, right? The timing of it was key, and the fact that it was like what Mark said. His kids saw something that
It was like
resonated with
it
him,
was like a
and he
showcase
was an
of
original
African
superhero.
culture.
He
That's
wasn't
kind
taking
of
over
why
somebody
it
else's mantle. It was the
took off the
perfect
way it
time
did
for
too.
that thing. And look, this is your
Like
time,
it
and
hit the
hopefully, if the
zeitgeist.
show continues, you can, work with some of the ideas that people are giving to you, and take some of the criticism and roll with it, and understand where this is coming from. Because, look, I think it'd be just as easy to add a character that isn't a stereotype that's a good cop, because you've just talked about it. Your friend, take his inspiration, right? Take a former cop who sees and knows about the shit that's going on there, or
He
something
might
like
take
that.
notes on some of the stuff they
Make
tell
some
him.
changes in the
Who
show if you
knows?
can, if you work on a second season. And
Of course, he said he wasn't the
something
one
like that, because
writing
at this point,
but
I just see
maybe
this
he
more
could
like
tell the
we've
writers.
been there, done this. Give us something new, and I think that's where we're getting like this idea of fatigue of things we've already seen a million times over. I think that's why Black Panther was as big as it was at the time it was, because it wasn't something we'd seen 20 times before that, and it wasn't usurping something else before it.
Look, Mark is right in that Black Panther, it wasn't just that it's a black superhero. It's this world in Africa that never got touched by colonization. The white man never came. They were secret. They were separate from it all. They're basically African Asgard. Right?
Yeah, we had never seen that. Yeah,
there's it's Marvel Comics. They come from this amazing mystical world, right? Wonder Woman comes from the Amazons. This is just a trope that comics do, and so is this black excellence moment that everyone got to go to, and there is something to escape
kind of an ethno state.
stereotypes in full, all the way back to the source, and everyone felt that, right? And then look, I did Superfly, so the second major studio release after Black Panther was my movie, which is Drug Dealers. I did the
You did
remake of
Superfly. You did a remake of Superfly.
I did the remake of Superfly. So right after, like literally, black folks still. My mother still had the dashiki in her closet, and then my movie rolls along a few months later, like, "Hey, black people, remember crime and drugs?" Like what? And the whole community is like, "Yo, what the fuck? What is this?" Like the people thought like the Illuminati had come together to stop black people's good feelings. You know what I'm saying? So again, and on the outside of it, people seeing it, it feels like a big plan. In reality, it's just a studio trying to beat who else? Shaft was coming out, so Sony wanted to beat Shaft, so we had to be out by the summertime.
Shaft is a good movie.
So there's no deep.
I didn't see the
plan.
new.
It's just the way shit works. And
here's the thing.
Yeah.
Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, the creators of Black Panther, two white Jewish men, they did that because they recognized the need for something, like an image. I mean, you consider the turbulent times that was created in, and they knew that it was respectable to have an original black story, that was empowering, the kids could look to. So they gifted that to everyone, and that to me is how you get respect. You get respect through originality, and creativity and things like that. And there's got to be
I think
room for
Falcon was
that.
the
You
first
can do the
Black superhero. I'm not sure.
metaphorical things,
Black Panther
Robin
obviously
Hood,
was
whatever
more
else
popular.
you want to do, but you won't get respect unless you have like something original, something your own. It's like, honestly, I'm just tired of seeing Black people be the fucking butt of every joke because of our hypocrisy. You know what I mean? It's like we talk about to everybody else about cultural appropriation, but at every turn we culturally appropriate. You know what I mean? Like that's the type of hypocrisy that the world sees. Whether we agree with it or not, you or I, that's the way it is perceived. So you come to things from a position of power, from a position of ownership. You know what I'm saying? It's like, when I do my thing on camera, I always do like this because I don't believe in doing like this. It's like, this is how you break through. This is how you beg.
No, because I do this too. Yeah, what's up, Mark?
My brother. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, on that note, we'll leave it there. Oh man, I'm glad EVS came in though and saved the day, man. Just like a superhero. That dude, man. Flashcast, I love you guys. Shout out. If you see this, please don't take it down. I might want to rewatch this again and just hear some of that conversation again because I thought it was interesting. I thought it was very interesting. I kind of wish I had recorded the whole thing from the beginning, but I kind of I jumped in the middle of it when they were arguing. I was on that part, but I'm glad I got to catch the more of it, and they kind of reached common ground there. They became more respectful to one another, which was what I was hoping for. So, in honor of Flashcast, I'm going to close it out with a clip.
I am not gay. I have relationships with women, sex with men.
And I got news for you. That means you're gay.